Hello, friends. I'm Chris with Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. And in this stability meets mobility practice, we're going to focus on the cervical spine. So if you take your hand to the back of your neck, you'll find one very bony, jutty vertebra that sticks out. That's the C7 vertebra. The vertebrae rather. So the area of the spinal column that the practice will be most specifically focused for is that point up to that little notch, that bony notch where your spinal column fits into the skull. So this will be a balanced practice, but there'll be a lot of focus on cervical spine. Now, what I think you'll need for props to be safe and enjoy your practice tonight are one, or better yet, two yoga blocks. And although I don't have any specific cueing for it, I recommend having a strap handy for a stability meets mobility class. And we'll get started with our cervical spine stability meets mobility experience in just a moment. All right, so we're going to start with some breath work tonight, but I'm going to put you in the grounding position to start that. So the grounding position, I'm going to offer you this is one option, but please know if your body calls for something else, this is absolutely not compulsory, but what you might consider is a constructive rest position. So come down onto your back, bring your feet out nice and wide, full mat width apart, lay your whole spinal column on the mat, and then let gravity draw your knees into center. So the knees either rest upon one another. Now, if there's too much pressure in the hips, place a block in between the knees. And then you can do what you like with your hands. You could have one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. You can see the arms out to the side, over your head, whatever you like. And we're going to do a 4-8 down regulating breath. But before we do that, let's do one big cleansing breath together. So draw in a nice, deep, juicy inhale. And then open your mouth, sigh that all out. With this 4-8 breath, it'll be a 4-count inhale through your nose, followed by an 8-count exhale through your mouth, making a ha sound. So exhale out all your breath again. And then inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the mouth with a ha sound. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. All right. If you would for now, while we're in this grounding position, I'll ask you to maintain that 4-8 breath if that feels like it's working for you. And the reading for tonight is the tail end of chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. And tonight we hear entirely from Krishna. There are 4 kinds of virtuous men who worship me, Arjuna. The man in distress, the man who seeks power, the man who seeks wisdom, and the sage. Of these 4, the sage is the most praiseworthy, unattached, steadfast. That man is supremely beloved by me, as I am by him. All these are noble-minded, but the sage is my very self. Calm, untroubled, he dwells in the ultimate goal, in me. At the end of his many lives, the sage unites with me, thinking, Krishna is all that is. Great souls like this are rare. Men whose wisdom is darkened by desires, men who are hemmed in by the limits of their own natures, take refuge in other gods. But whatever the form of reverence, whatever god a sincere devotee chooses to worship, I grant him an unswerving faith. Empowered by his faith, that man earnestly seeks the god's favor and obtains the things he desires, because I myself have ordained it. But fleeting is the reward that men of small minds are given. They will go to the gods they worship, but my worshipers come to me. Though I am unmanifest, fools think that I have a form, unaware of my higher existence, which is permanent and supreme. Veiled in my power, veiled in my mystery and power, I am not perceived by most men. Their deluded minds cannot see me, the unborn, the changeless, the undying. I know all beings who have passed, and all who live now, Arjuna, and all who are yet to be, but I am beyond all knowing. All beings are born to ignorance, ruled by aversion and craving. This, Arjuna, is the primal duality that keeps them bound. But when a man is released from dualities, he can act purely, without attachment, and can serve me with all his heart. Those who take refuge in me, striving for release from old age and death, know absolute freedom in the self and the nature of action. Those who know me in the nature of beings, of gods, and of worship are always with me in spirit, even at the hour of their death. And we'll pick up next week with chapter 8. All right, so this 4-8 breath, I think we're going to come back to this at the end of the practice as well. But for now, if you would, start to shift into your Ujjayi breath. Add that audible quality. And if you chose any other grounding for yourself besides on your back, I'd like you to make your way onto your back. And then grab a block, place the block at the lowest height under your head, and just reach back, find that occipital bone, that little bony crest where your spinal column fits in, and rest the block on the edge of that occipital bone. Now, you can choose butterfly legs. You could have the soles of your feet on the earth like I do. Your legs could be out long. I have no real preference there. But I'd like you to reach your arms up over your head, palms facing up toward the ceiling, as if you were trying to find a down dog shape in the ceiling. And in fact, flatten your palms out. Feel your armpits hollow out. And then on your next inhale, press that bony crest on which the block is resting into the block until your shoulder blades lift up off your mat. Continue to breathe, and we're going to hold right here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower your head down. Take all the weighted load off the back of your head. So no weighted load on the back of your head. Then turn your head to the left. And there's a little bony station on the back of the skull there. If you probe around with that, with the back of your head, find that rested on the block. Flatten your palms out again. Press your sacrum down into the earth. And then on your next inhale, press into that bony crest on the left-hand side of your head. Lift your shoulder blades. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down. Take all the weighted load off your head, and then turn your head through center, off to the right. Same thing. Find that little bony crest. Rest it on the back of the block. Press your sacrum down into the mat. Flatten your palms out again, and then one more time, press into the back of your head. Lift your shoulder blades for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Lower all the way down. Take all the weighted load off your head. You can relax your arms now. And then once the weighted load is gone, bring your head back to neutral. Lift up, remove the block, and do a quick check. I'd like you to see that your feet and knees are hip distance apart. Your heels are close enough that you can reach down and brush your feet. And we're going to go into some bridging. So we'll start with a pelvic tilt, but right away we'll bridge. So on an inhale, draw your belly button towards your sternum. Exhale, press into your feet. Lift your thighs, lift your hips. This is early in the practice, so be gentle. You don't have to come up high. And then lower your whole spinal column down to the mat. Reach your right arm up over your head. So up along your mat, and then turn your head to the left. So reach that right arm out like you were reaching out of the shoulder socket. Turn your head vigorously to the left. And then on an inhale, draw your belly button to your sternum. Press into your feet, lift your thighs, lift your hips, sweep your right arm back down by your waist, bring your gaze back to center. And then as you exhale, start lowering your spine, sweep your left arm up over your head, shift your gaze powerfully over to your right. Press into your feet, come up into a bridge, sweep that left arm down by your waist, gaze to neutral. And then exhale, lower down, sweep your right arm over your head, shift your gaze to the left. Lift up into a bridge, right arm down by your waist, head back to neutral. And then exhale, left arm up, gaze to the right. Lift up out of your bridge, bring that left arm back down to center. We're going to do each side one more time. Exhale, right arm, left gaze. Come back to center. Left arm, right gaze. And then with your whole spinal column on the earth, bring your gaze back to neutral. Sweep your left arm back down by your waist. And then however you want to get there, I'd like you to make your way into a hero's pose. So for me, that's going to look like rolling off to the side, pressing up. And I'm going to choose, again, early in the practice, I'm going to choose a couple of blocks under my seat. But find great posture. Put your head over your shoulders, over your hips. And then length along your spinal column. Press down into your seat. Grow out of your heart and the crown of your head for the stars. Bring your chin so it's level with the earth. So enough space between your chin and your throat, you could hold a medium-sized apple. And then start to draw your chin toward the back edge of your mat. In my body, this gives me a little bit of a double chin. And then release your neck. Double chin. Release your neck. Draw your chin toward the back edge of your mat. Release your neck. Give yourself a double chin. And release. And then one more time, draw your chin toward the back edge of your mat. And then bring it back to center. Take your left arm up over your head. Plug your left thumb into the space where the soft tissue meets your shoulder blade. So left elbow now points up toward the stars. Place your right hand on the crown of your head with your right elbow forward. Inhale, find length along your spinal column. Exhale, draw your chin down towards your right shoulder. Use your right hand, lift the crown of your head back up to center. You can release your left arm for now. Drop your right thumb to the space where the soft tissue meets the shoulder blade. Now, right elbow points toward the stars. Bring your left hand to the crown of your head. And then one more time, lengthen along the whole spinal column. Exhale, your chin down toward your left shoulder. Lift your head back up to center. Release both arms. Stack joints, long spinal column. Inhale. Leave your shoulders stationary where we're going now. Shoulders and hips, the effort is to not move. But turn your head powerfully to the left. Bring your gaze back into center. Shift your gaze powerfully to the right. center, left, center, right, center, left, center, and right. Come back into center. Now, head and hips will stay largely stationary. Hands may move a little. We just move the shoulders. Inhale, find length. Exhale, rotate just your shoulders to the left. It may be a fairly small movement. That's okay. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, rotate your shoulders to the right. Center, left, center, right, center, left, center, and right. Come back to center. We'll take a little pause here. This time the hips stay more or less neutral. Head and shoulders return in opposite directions. So lengthen along your spinal column again. On an inhale, press into your seat. Grow out of the crown of your head. Exhale, rotate your head powerfully to the left, your shoulders powerfully to the right. Center. And then head powerfully to the right, shoulders powerfully to the left. From this point forward, I'll just say change sides. Center. Change sides. Center. Change sides. Center. Change sides. Center. And change sides. Center. Good job. If you've got blocks under your seat, you might choose to lift up, remove the blocks, and then stack all the joints. Float your head over your shoulders, over your hips, over your knees. On an inhale breath, sweep your arms up over your head. As you exhale, drop your right hand towards your lower back, start folding forward at the waist. Lower your left arm back behind your lower back, tap your right temple down to the earth. And then as you inhale, lift yourself up, bring the gaze back to neutral, sweep your right arm up over your head. Exhale, right arm to your lower back, tap your left temple down to the earth. Right temple, I'm sorry guys, I led you astray there. Inhale, lift back up in the center, sweep your left arm up over your head. Exhale, powerfully sweep your left arm down, tap your left temple down to the earth. Rise back up, reach your right arm up over your head. Exhale, sweep that right arm back, tap your right temple down. Rise, left arm lifts. And then lower that left arm down, fold forward at the waist, tap your left temple down to the earth. And this time we're just gonna sit back onto the heels just for a breath, and then start to rock forward. We're gonna come into a tabletop with your shoulders floating over your wrists, your hips floating over your knees. And then start to shift the gaze forward, 5 or 6 feet in front of your mouth. Inhale right here. Exhale, release your chin to your chest. Lower your seat down toward your heels. Hands and arms stay shoulder width apart. Inhale, leave your chin tucked in towards your chest. Come back into tabletop. And at the very top of this movement, shift your gaze forward. Exhale, your chin to your chest, your seat to your heels. Inhale, rise into tabletop. Just the last little bit, the last 25% of the movement, start to shift your chin forward. And then friends, if you would do 4 more of these at your own pace to your own breath. Once you've had a chance to work through 6 full rounds, come back to a neutral spine position. You guys, if you would maintain your position, I'm going to change mine just for demonstration purposes. And then from this modified high plank, lower down into Sphinx pose. Put your shoulders over your elbows. Press the tops of your feet down into the earth. Drag your elbows back towards your waist and soften your belly. I'd like you to have, for where we're going next, I'd like you to have a block close by. We're going to throw a little bit of yin work in here with broken branch. And then just for good measure, we're going to throw in broken wing as well. So you can take that block, set it up at the medium height in between your wrists, and then slide your left hand forward, past the top edge of your mat. Create a generous bend under your left elbow. Sweep your right arm up under your chest across the front plane of your body. Wrap your left arm over your right. For now, both palms face the sky. And then walk the fingers of each hand out in opposite directions. And if you're fine right here, stay right here. Otherwise, for more sensation, tuck your toes under your feet. Rock the crown of your head forward. Maybe release your forehead down to this block. So we're not going to stay here a yin amount of time. But I think even a fairly short amount of time, this particular pose can be pretty impactful. So a bit of focus and emphasis on shoulders tonight. The shoulders and the neck are tied together so closely. Often if we have neck pain, it's based on an immobility issue in the shoulders. Not always, but very often. All right, friends, tuck your toes under your feet. Walk your heels back behind you. Unwind your left arm. Unwind your right arm, and then we'll set up for the other side. Slide the palm of your right hand forward. Thread your left arm under your chest, across the front plane of your body. Right arm over your left. Walk the fingers out in opposite directions, just like the other side. Stay right here, or rock the crown of your head forward. So it's a little bit of an unconventional start to our practice tonight. We are going to add an element of vinyasa here in a little bit. We got one more thing that I'd like to do first. But even the sun A's, we're going to be doing sun A's with a chair pose. And we'll be doing forward folds over chair legs, which is a little different. Right, tuck your toes under your feet. Walk your heels back behind you. Unwind your arms. And then you can remove your block. Lower your heart down to the earth. And a couple of options for that left arm. One, you could tee that left arm out to the side. You could also do a goalpost arm with your left elbow in line with your left shoulders and the left fingers reaching up toward the stars. But rest your left cheek on the mat. Bring your right hand under your right shoulder. And broken wing. Start to press into your right hand. Lift your right shoulder. Float it over your left. And then step your right foot back behind your left knee. Maybe. If that doesn't feel good, of course, I wouldn't do that. But if you wanted more sensation, you could place a block under that right hand at any height. Anything you do that floats the right shoulder, that draws it closer up toward the stars, and draws the back of your right shoulder closer toward the left-hand edge of your mat, will add some sensation in the front of your left shoulder. You could also choose to walk the fingers of your left hand further over to the left. That will also add sensation. All right, friends, if there's a block under that right hand, remove the block. Bring your right hand under your right shoulder, all the way down to your belly. We're just going to change sides. To your right arm out to the side, or take that goalpost shape. Bring your left hand under your left shoulder. Press into your left hand. Lift your left shoulder. Maybe float it over your right. Ooh, I have and adult portion of sensation right here. So I'm going to leave that left hand right on the mat. But if you can, sometimes I see people do this with the head lifted up. If you can, just rest your right temple as gently and lovingly on your mat as you can. All right, if you got a block under your left hand, slide that block out of the way. Bring your left hand back under your left shoulder. Roll over onto your belly. Bring your hands under your shoulders. Press up into tabletop first. And then on an inhale, tuck your toes up under your feet. Exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog. Right away, start to warm the lower body. So tonight I'm going to pedal the feet out. And I'd like you to focus right from the very beginning in your down dog on your neck, particularly on allowing it to relax here. So I'm going to ask you to really, like when we're turning the head tonight, to really engage turning the neck and add some sensation here. When you have an opportunity to release and relax it, I'd like you to really lean into that as well. Find stillness in your lower body. Flatten your palms out on the earth. Press your index knuckle and thumb into your mat. Relax your neck again. We're going to transition to ragdoll. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale. Take as many steps as you need to come up to the top edge of your mat. Your feet hip distance apart. Your whole belly resting on your thighs. Any arm variation, but I'd like your neck relaxed. So tonight, to help facilitate that, I'm going to interlace both hands at the base of my skull. Shift the weight more into the balls of your feet than in the heels. 70% of the weight here in the balls of the feet, 30% in the heels. Release your hands down to the earth. Heel toe your feet together. Now shift the weight into the heels. 70% in the heels, 30% in the balls of the feet. On an inhale, find a halfway lift. Create a nice flat shape of your spine. Exhale, find a forward fold. And then inhale, press down into your feet. Come all the way up to standing. Exhale, slice your hand down at the heart center. 2 breaths at a soft gaze on the tips of your fingers. And I'm going to stay facing you at least this first set just for demonstration purposes. This is a little bit of a weird movement. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, sit back into chair pose. So it's a bit early for chair, right? So it could be a higher chair. That's just fine. So when I call for a forward fold, the first couple of times we're going to do it over chair legs. Inhale right here. Exhale, release your right hand to your lower back. Start folding forward at the waist. Shift your gaze powerfully to the left. Sweep the fingers of your left hand down by the pinky edge blade of your left foot. And then as you inhale, lead with that left arm. Rise back up into chair. Shift your gaze up to neutral. Release your right arm back up toward the stars. Good job, guys. That's it. Exhale. Left hand to your low back. Fold forward over chair legs. Gaze powerfully to the right. Sweep the fingers of your right hand powerfully down by the pinky edge blade of your foot. Inhale. Lift that arm back up. Come back up into chair pose. And then exhale, forward fold. From your forward fold, on an inhale, find a halfway lift. Exhale, step back into high plank. So this is actually the first high plank of our practice. That being said, we're not going to hang around here long. Tap your knees down to the earth. Allow the back of your head to stay buoyant, and then lower down to your belly. And with your hands under your shoulders, on an inhale, open your heart. I'm going to choose easy cobra. You could go back to Sphinx. You could also take up dog. Yep, good, you guys. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale, walk or step to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, come all the way up to standing. And I'm going to cue the neck here a little bit differently this time around. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale and chair. Exhale, release your left hand to your lower back. Start to fold forward over chair leg. Sweep your right arm down. Gaze powerfully to the left. And then lead with that right arm. Come back up into chair. And then change sides. Right hand to your lower back. Gaze to the right. Sweep your left hand powerfully down. Rise up into chair. And then find a forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Inhale and high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or float to the top edge of your mat. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale and chair. Exhale, right hand to your lower back. Fold forward over chair legs. Gaze powerfully to the right. Sweep the left arm powerfully down to the earth. Inhale, lead with that left arm. Come back up in the center. Exhale, change sides. So the gaze is to the left, right arm sweeps down. Rise back up in the chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Inhale and high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Inhale, open your heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. On an inhale, bend your knees. Look forward. Exhale, move to the top edge of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Come up to standing. Exhale, chair pose. Inhale and chair. Exhale, left hand to your lower back. Fold forward. Right arm squeeze down. Gaze to the left. Inhale, lift up into chair. Exhale, change sides. Inhale, come back up into chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. And down to your belly. Open your heart. And then downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, draw in another life affirming breath. And then open your mouth, let that all go. On an inhale, lift your right heel up toward the stars. Then as you exhale, step it forward. Tap your left knee down, low lunge. Right away. Left hand down to the mat or to a block. Right hand on your right thigh. On an inhale, find length along your spinal column. Exhale, press into your right hand. Open your heart up to the right. Rotate your hips back to the left. And then let's add some cycling. Inhale, release, part way to the twist. Exhale, re-engage. Come back into your twist. All right, this next transition we transition is a little bit of a sequencing no-no. It's not wrong, it's just really unusual. Come back to stillness. Bring your chest back to center. Tuck the toes up under your left foot, and then lift up into Crescent Warrior. I'm going to change my position on my mat just to demonstrate. And then from Crescent Warrior, inhale right here, open up into Warrior Two. Engage both legs. Press the pinky edge blade of your left foot into the earth. Feel the feet spread apart. Feel your legs turn on. We're not going to stay here too long. We've got some other things here that are pretty important and really relate to the neck here. But maybe start here in the Warrior Two by noticing how you can relax your shoulders down your back. My friend Brianna taught me this. If you put a little bend in the elbows, that'll help relax the shoulder blades down your back. Your next inhale, flip your right palm. Come forward. Exhale, peaceful warrior. Any option for your left hand? It's even more important than normal tonight, just based on the theme of the class. Do something kind to your neck here. Right? If looking up toward the fingers of your right hand feels kind, do that. It doesn't feel kind to me. So I'm going to choose tonight my gaze at the horizon. Inhale. Exhale, extended side angle pose. Right elbow on your right inner thigh. Maybe to start, left hand right on your hip. And then eventually, maybe you float the fingers of your left hand up toward the stars. Now, lift your gaze up toward those fingers. Pull powerfully, lift those fingers even higher up like you were pulling out of that left shoulder socket. Then as you exhale, start to powerfully drop that left arm back behind you. Shift your gaze down toward the toes of your right foot. Inhale, as that arm rises from the front, follow it with your gaze. So your gaze lifts as the hand rises. Exhale, lower the gaze as your hand sets. We're going to do this from triangle too, the same thing. Inhale, lift the gaze as the arm rises. Exhale, lower the gaze as it sets. And this time, as both the gaze and the arm come back up to 12 o'clock, come to an apparent pause, and we're going to change sides. Drop the gaze down, circle the arm to the front. And then inhale, lift the arm up back behind you, meet it with the gaze at the top, and then lower both your arm and the gaze. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Find an apparent pause at the top, and then lift up into Warrior Two. On your next inhale, straighten your right leg. Let your left hip pocket shift back behind you. Bring your right hand forward and down. I'm going to choose a block here under my right hand. We'll find a triangle pose. And again, maybe to start, that left hand stays right on your hip or your low back. And the truth is, friends, it could stay here the whole time. Everything else that I'm offering is just a suggestion. But maybe float the fingers of your left hand up toward the stars. Pull powerfully out of that shoulder socket as the fingers reach for the stars. Lift your gaze up toward that left hand. Inhale. Exhale, drop your gaze down toward the toes on your right foot and powerfully sweep that left arm back behind you. Inhale, sweep the arm up, follow with your gaze. Exhale, drop the gaze as it sets. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise, find an apparent pause. And then just like an extended side angle, we're just going to change direction. So gaze drops, arm drops. And then the arm reaches back up behind you. The gaze comes back up to meet in the middle. And it sets. Inhale as that left arm rises. Exhale as it sets. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. And this time, as both the gaze and the arm rise, find an apparent pause. Use your left hand, draw yourself all the way up to standing. Come back into Warrior Two legs. And then cartwheel your hands down to the earth. Find a high plank. And then you can chart whatever course to down dog makes sense. You could press directly there. You could flow through a vinyasa. You could take a drink of water. You could take a break in child's pose. Whatever your body's calling for, do that. And then on an inhale, lift your left heel up toward the stars. Exhale, step it forward. Tap your right knee down, low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Right hand, bring it down to the mat or to a block. Place your left hand on your left thigh. Inhale, find length along your spinal column. Exhale, press into your left hand, open your heart up to the left. Just like the other side, add a gentle cycling movement just to loosen the connective tissues in the low back a bit. All right, friends, come back to stillness. Bring your heart into center. Tuck your toes under your right foot. On your next inhale, lift up into Crescent Warrior, any version. Inhaling Crescent Warrior. Exhale, Virabhadrasana, Warrior 2. Relax the shoulders again. Do something kind for your neck. Engage the feet. Feel the legs turn on again. And then on an inhale, flip your left palm. Let it draw you forward. Exhale, Peaceful Warrior. So whatever you choose in this Peaceful Warrior, just like the other side, on your neck first. Whatever else you do, take care of your neck. I remember as a kid seeing watching both of my grandfathers drive. Neither one of them could turn their heads to look behind them. Right? I didn't understand that when I was 10. But now I'm 49, and I've got a little bit of insight as to what's coming. But I think with skillful application of movement, we can prevent the worst of those things. So that's the working theory. That's what we're working with. Inhale right here in Peaceful Warrior. Exhale, extended side angle pose. And then when and if you're ready, again, the right hand could stay in your hip and low back the whole time. Otherwise, float the finger of your right hand up toward the stars. Shift your gaze up toward the fingers of your right hand. Lift powerfully out of the right shoulder. And then as you exhale, drop your gaze down to the toes in your left foot. Powerfully sweep that right arm back behind you. Inhale, lift your gaze as that arm rises. Exhale, lower your arm as your gaze sets. Some additional alignment cues there from my little friend Angel. I don't know if you heard him. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. And this time as you rise, the gaze and the hand both come to an apparent pause at the top, and then we'll change direction. Shift your gaze down toward the toes on your left foot. Powerfully sweep that right arm forward. And then it rises behind you. Meet it in the center with your gaze. Lower the gaze as it sets. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, they both rise, find an apparent pause, and then lift yourself up into Warrior 2. Straighten your left leg, right hip pocket this time scoots back and behind you. The block's not quite high enough for me on this side, so I'm just going to take that left hand to a leg. Trikonasana, triangle pose. Right, but think about alignment, block or no block. Press the back of your heart into an imaginary wall. And then only if it serves you, lift the fingers of your right hand up toward the stars. Follow them with your gaze. Lift powerfully out of that right shoulder. Inhale. Exhale, release your gaze down to your left toes. Powerfully sweep that right arm back behind you. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Find an apparent pause, and then change directions. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Exhale, set. Inhale, rise. Come to an apparent pause, and then allow your right hand to draw you up to standing. Warrior two in that left leg, and then cartwheel your hands down to the earth, high plank. And then in high plank, just pause here for a second. Release your knees down to the earth, and then walk your hands back towards your knees. Sit into a hero's pose, with or without blocks. So it looks like it's going to be a 2-block under the seat kind of night for me. Take your right hand, place it in your lower back, and then reach your left hand back, grab that right wrist, and then just start tractioning that right shoulder a bit forward. This is a little bit more gentle than where we're going, so I'm hoping this will be a bit of a gentle warm-up. So press your right shoulder and the top of the right arm forward toward the top edge of your mat. And you can relax that arm. Slide your left hand back over toward the right hip. Grab the left wrist in your right hand. Same thing, press your left shoulder and the upper part of your left arm forward. Maintain a long neck here. See if you can relax in that. And then release both arms to the center of the back. Interlace your fingers behind your back. And then walk both hands over to your left. So both hands come over toward your left hip. And then start tweezing your left elbow back behind you. So as if you're drawing the elbow, squeezing them in together. I don't know what this feels like in your body, friends. This is not particularly easy in my body at all. I get a lot of sensation. Relax your elbows, let them come back to center, and then slide both hands over to your right hip. Settle in, find good alignment along your spinal column, then start to tweeze the elbows together back behind you. Ooh, start to release your elbows apart. Slide both hands to your low back first, and you can release your fingers. If it would feel good to shake your arms up, please feel free to do that. And then just for a few breaths before we twist, I'd like you to find a heart bench. So take one block at the medium height, such that the long edge of the block is perpendicular to the long edge of your mat. And the second block, maybe 4 inches behind that at the highest height. Come down onto your back so the bottom of your rib cage, bra strap level, rests on the ridge of that block closest to you. Release your whole spinal column down onto the blocks. Release the back of your head onto the mat. You could do butterfly legs. You could have the soles of your feet on the earth. You could lengthen the legs out long. But I recommend tee your arms out to the side. And I think you'll get more sensation of the heart opening up and the shoulders relaxing back. Lots of support for the back of the head and the neck. So if there's a graceful way to come out of this, there may very well be. I've never found one, but there's a safe way. And near as I can tell, the safe way is to give yourself lots of support as you roll off to the side. Remove the blocks and then come onto your right side. For now, reach your right arm up over your head. Put a bend in your knees. And then reach your right hand back between your shoulder blades. Take your left hand down, the back of your left hand to your lower back. Start folding your left shoulder down toward the earth behind you, threading your right hand in between your shoulder blades. And now I would encourage you, come back to the 4-8 breath that we started with. But before we do that, let me just say, if you want more sensation in your shoulders, slide the back of your left hand higher up your spinal column. Slide your right hand further down between your shoulder blades. But then inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth. Remember that ha sound. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Continue that breath. All right, friends, start to slide the back of your left hand all the way down to your lower back. Lift your left shoulder up, float it over your right. Maybe release your right arm over your head. And then straighten your legs, roll over onto your other side. Put a bend in your knees, reach your left arm up over your head. Take the back of your right hand to your lower back. Thread your left hand in between your shoulder blades and start to lower your right shoulder back down to the earth behind you. Maybe only if your body wants more sensation in the shoulder, slide the back of your right hand back up the spinal column. And then I would encourage you, come back to that 4-8 breath. It's such a nice breath for bedtime. All right, friends, slide the back of your right hand back down to your lower back. Start to lift your right shoulder. Float your right shoulder over your left shoulder again. And then make your way into any final resting shape on your seat, your belly, your back, or your side. Now, with breath in general for your final resting shape, I'd encourage you to consider just a comfortable, natural breath. That's more consistent, and from my perspective, with letting go. But it depends on what you want and what you need tonight. And if you've had a tough day, and what you need is a really gentle exit ramp into your sleepy night. If you'd like to keep up that 4-8 breath, that's always an option for you as well. All right, friends, only if your body's ready to start to introduce some movements. Begin to reanimate your body with small movements, including some deeper breaths. And then bring the palms of your hands together in front of your face. Rub the heels of your hands together to warm them. And then take the bottoms of the heels of your hands right on the bottom of your eye socket. Cup your hands over your eyes. And just take a pause for a few breaths here. And you can start from here to radiate outward, circling and massaging your whole face and neck. And if a full body stretch would feel good, take a full body stretch as well. And then roll over onto either side into a fetal position. Check in with how you're feeling. Check in first, given the tone of the class tonight, check in with your nervous system first. Notice how your nervous system is feeling. You might also drop into your body and notice particularly the area of your neck and shoulders and see if you are able to open some space up for yourself. And press yourself up into a seated position with your legs crossed. And we're going to do one more down regulating activity. So I'd like you to take index finger and thumb of both hands, almost like you were going to make like shadow puppets for a child. And then bring them to the center of your brow line. And start from the center, work your way toward the temples, massaging along the whole brow line. And when you reach the edge, you can stop or release there. Take your thumbs, place them in the center of your upper eye socket. And I'd like you to apply gentle pressure with your thumbs up toward the stars and gentle pressure with your chin down toward the earth. Bring your chin back to neutral, release your thumbs. Take the index fingers of both hands, place them in the center and the bottom of the eye socket. This time apply gentle pressure with the tips of your fingers down toward the earth and gently lift your chin up toward the stars. All right, this next transition, I would like you to keep your shoulders floating over your ribs, or your shoulders floating over your hips rather. But like we did a few minutes ago, take the heels of your hands, bring them to the bottom of your eye sockets. Cup your hands over your eyes, start to tweeze your elbows together. Shoulders stay floating over your hips, but release your forehead forward. So now the arms have created this strong triangle shape, providing lots of support for your forehead and for your neck. Relax your eyes and see if you can relax your neck completely. Start to lift your chin back up to neutral. Slice your hands into heart center. Beautiful, courageous work, my friends. I appreciate your energy, your breath, and your practice. If you're so inclined, you can join me in drawing your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows. Blessings to you and your family. And that concludes our practice for tonight. Once again, friends, I'm Chris. I'm from Transformation Nation Yoga and Wellness. And this was our Stability Meets Mobility cervical spine sequence.